Do you sometimes just want to smash people's face in with good, honest beat sticks? Not having to worry about the stack, priorities, or your friend's feelings. Well, ever since the early days, I remember being pummeled by my friend Eric's Stonebrow beatdown deck, and that's how Gruul spreads, it seems like. Get smashed enough, and eventually you'll join the smashing. Enter Helena and Alina. They are some of the strongest and most underrated Gruul commanders I've ever built. Well, who am I and why are you listening to me? Well, hello, this is Jin from Next Level Commander. Magic, Commander, EDH, that's all I do, so if you enjoy this content, please like and subscribe for more. So looking at Helena and Alina, I'll just call them by their couple name. Helena. Yeah, Helena will do. Helena's ability seems fairly basic, but it's not. And you will see why in a second. I'm guessing most people looking for a similar profile gravitated towards Xenagos, which is understandable. I mean, Xenagos is sweet. But by comparison, Helena offers a more consistent and sustainable game plan. What's the plan, you ask? Well, we're not playing the typical Gruul beaters. No, none of them. We're going for synergy with our commander. And it turns out cards that synergize with our commander also do with each other. Now, I know this is slightly more thinking than what the average Gruul player is used to doing, but just bear with me for a second, it's worth it. We're making a feedback loop. Yes, you know how when you place a mic too close to the speakers and the sound feeds into itself and it quickly becomes unbearable? No? Okay, I hope your volume is kept low because I'm playing that sound for you in 3, 2, 1. Just kidding, I'm not here to torment you. We save that for your playgroup. Their ears will definitely be ringing once Helena is done with them. So how does it work? We're playing only threats that can pump Helena before combat, which in turn pump themselves. Take my favorite one, for example, Wolfir Silverheart. Quick maths. We drop our commander, and then this the turn after. How much are we attacking for? 20. 6 from the commander and 14 from Wolfir. Seems decent. And that's what the deck is about. Let's start with the biggest pumps. Verdur's Gearhulk isn't quite as good as the Wolf, but there's more flexibility with how you distribute the counters, and they stick around even if the Gearhulk gets removed. Ulrich of the Kralin Horde also pumps for 4, but once in a while we can politic someone into allowing us to transform to deal with a threat. Bristly Bill for just 2 mana can do a ton of work with counters, and the activated ability can finish games all on its own. Master Seymour is like another copy of our commander. Ordinary Tumbleweg, holy crap this name, may not seem that impactful at first, but even then dropping this after our commander, you're attacking for 8 with haste. And if you get the chance to saddle it once or twice, it will go out of hand fast. As we go deeper into the game, the doublers begin to shine. Xenagos definitely makes the cut. He also kinda does an impression of our commander. Besides that, the doubling from God Eternal Ronas and Zopentro, Hunger Dominus, can straight up finish games with a decent board. Sigardian Zealot is one of the best cards in this deck because it pumps the board based on its own power. And let's just say it's never going to be 3. And we've got a few more like this. They don't just boost the commander, but also the entire board. The new Ouroboros is sweet. And Vortusk Leech may have been victim to power creep, but the anthem is still relevant enough, and evasive creatures is always nice. Averbrock Caretaker is quite expensive for what it does, considering how hard it is to flip a werewolf in EDH. But I want to believe. Now onto cards that don't pump so much, but provide utility. Enduring Courage and Ogre Battle Driver because haste is just so important in a beatdown deck, in case our commander gets removed. Eldrazi Linebreaker and Reckless Stormseeker are mini versions of that. Bloodsworn Steward and Guardian Augmenter provide pump and utility for Helena to thrive, while Daring Thrillseeker pumps for 2 early game and can quickly grow into a threat your opponents will have to play around. And in the late game, if you have something massive, this can just be a fling in a pinch to wrap things up. Defiler of Vigor is just such a pushed card with cost reduction, pump, and a massive body for just 5 mana. And we toss in the Doomscar Warrior and Emergent Woodworm for some value as we send in the beats. And this wraps up the You Big Me Big section. We also do have a few creatures that benefit from growing in size. Heronblade Elite is a bit awkward here as a 3-cost mana dork, but it's just so nice with its set of abilities, being able to be in for damage and tap for a ton of mana. Lifeblood Hydra is expensive to cast, but as it grows with our, 25 pump effects, we can cash it in for a payday later on. Dreadhorde Arcanist is a bit narrow, but when it fires, it's so much value. Early game, we're getting double Rampant Growth, and late game, it becomes double Chandra's Ignitions and double Lifestream's Blessings. Spikeshot Elder is an old favorite of mine from Meriden, and it's absolutely at home here. 3 mana for 5 damage, repeated, is already pretty excellent, and is often more than that, much more. And lastly, Pathbreaker Evex. It does everything except pumping our commander, but every time I drop this with haste, the game ends soon after. so it's probably a good card. And yep, that's the core of our game plan. What's nice about this deck compared to something like Xenagos is that every creature here is a threat that sticks around, especially if the commander gets to do its thing. But even if Helena gets removed, our creatures will still feed into each other and eventually overwhelm our opponents. Now time for some utility. Let's start with Ramp. Our commander is 4 mana, so we're prioritizing 2 drops. The land search effects are good, but these creatures are even better because we have something to pump right away when we drop Helena on turn 3. The Great Henge doesn't help at all in the early game, but it's just too much value to throw away. And while we're being greedy, Traverse the Outlands, not the most reliable effect, but if we get to fire this off, we are set for life. For card draw, we have Sylvan Library to cover our bases, while Greater Good, Hunter's Insight, Return of the Wild Speaker, and Livestream's Blessing will send us straight to Value Town. Inspiring Call is a protection spell, but in a pinch, we can absolutely fire it off for 3 to 4 cards. We're fairly light on removals, and for board wipes, we're prioritizing the damage-based ones. Because our board grows big enough that oftentimes these are one-sided. A little bit of protection, because our commander is a removal magnet as soon as our opponents figure out what we're doing. Rhythm of the Wild is pump or haste, depending on what's needed. And Garruk's Uprising will help our creatures reach our opponent's faces, rather than getting distracted by some depressed robots. And let's round things up with a Rancor for some reusable pump and a Worldly Tutor, because why not? For utility lands, we're prioritizing haste enablers. Some of the MDFCs are sweet too, but don't get too greedy with them. Play them as lands unless it's beyond obvious that you don't need another one. And here you have it. The deck is fairly explosive, but not with the best resilience, as our cards can get a bit expensive, and it may be difficult to keep up in the late game if we don't ramp well early. The deck is fairly easy to play. The toughest decision is probably something like, do I pump Ouroboros with our commander first, or vice versa? The budget is mid to high, and this is a bracket 3 deck. So yeah, this is Jin with Next Level Commander, and if you enjoy smashing as much as I do, please like and subscribe. What is your smashiest deck? And let me know in the comments, and I'll see you soon.